Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about paraphrasing and how you can still use the 5 W's to help you with your paraphrasing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the definition of paraphrasing. A lot of teachers are going to have different ideas for what they want. Of course, always go with what your teacher is asking. However, I wanted to show you what I think about paraphrasing. And if you look at the definition, basically what it's telling you is to try and achieve greater clarity, make it easier to understand for your reader and for yourself, all right? So, a couple of things to keep in mind when I'm doing paraphrasing, and I would recommend that you do too. Do you know all the words in the paragraph? Super, super important. Do you understand what it is saying? Did you use the 5 W's to help you understand the meaning? And really important, have you read it more than once after identifying any words you don't understand? If you follow these rules, I think that you will find that paraphrasing is not as difficult as you might think it is. Let's look at this passage. First thing, of course, you're going to do with anything that you want to paraphrase and restate in your own words is to read through it. Now, you may have a teacher that adheres to the idea that you have to rewrite every single sentence in a paragraph. I tend not to feel that way when I'm paraphrasing. I'm looking for the main points, the main idea that's coming through from this paragraph, which usually, but not always, usually means that my paraphrasing will be shorter because I'm trying to make it more concise. I'm trying to clarify so that I really understand what's going on. So, first thing you have to do is you have to read it. So, that's what we're going to do. The risks from near-Earth asteroids are real, and the effects of an asteroid impact on Earth vary widely with the size of the impactor. So, the data about what's out there, which is still partially unknown, become critical. Understanding the risks from asteroid impacts on Earth is a pretty young exercise, as is the case with much of astronomy and planetary science. We now know that future dangerous impacts will happen, though they may be many years away. From a planetary scientist's view, however, it would be grossly negligent to avoid completing as thorough a survey as possible of all the space rocks in Earth-crossing orbits and understanding other small bodies farther out in the solar system that could come our way. So on our list now it says, do we know all the words in the paragraph? So let's go ahead and go back and take a look at that paragraph and determine if we actually do know all the words in it. My guess is there are a couple of words that you don't, like asteroids. Do you know what asteroids means? Let's see what else. Impactor. Now, if you know what the word impact means, you may have an idea what the word impactor means. So that's how you can kind of break down some words. What about astronomy? Do you know what astronomy means? Or for that matter, planetary. Once again, look at the word planet, okay? And it probably has something to do with the planets, so maybe it's a study of planets, right? So it's really important to go through here. There may be a couple others, like orbits. Do you know what it means if something is in orbit? Sometimes people don't know what the word grossly means or what negligent means. So these are all really important things to understand before you start trying to paraphrase. Because if you don't understand what the words mean, you're not going to get very far at all. So in the past, when I have done this with the kids, we have identified these words. So you can look them up. There's nothing wrong with looking them up unless you're taking a test or something, you're not able to look them up, but that's when you start trying to break down the words. So obviously, negligent means careless, grossly means extremely, solar relating to the sun, so if we're talking about a solar system, thorough, that's a word that some kids don't know, means in depth. Planetary, obviously, relation to the planets. Astronomy, a study of space. So now you'd want to go back and reread your passage, understanding what these words mean. The other thing that can help you is to simply do the 5 W's. Okay, who are we talking about? Well, we're talking about scientists. What are we talking about? We are talking about the dangers of impacts on Earth from asteroids. All right, and we're talking about space, the solar system. When are we talking about this happening? We're talking about happening now and in the future. And why is it important? Because obviously we could die if a bad impact happens. So going back to our list of things to consider, do we know all the words in the paragraph? Yes. Do we understand what it is saying? Yeah, because the 5 W's have helped us understand it. And then obviously we need to go back and reread it again to make sure that we understand it. Once you've done that and you feel like you have a pretty good handle on what this passage means, you know what all the words mean in it, now you have to actually start paraphrasing. When I begin paraphrasing, I'm obviously going to go back and look at the paragraph, and I'm going to start to think, what is really important here? Obviously, what's really important is going to be represented in my 5 W's, and I just want to see what I think is important. What are the main parts of this? Here is our original passage, and then here is a paraphrasing of that original passage. The danger from an asteroid hitting the Earth is very possible. Depending on the size of the rock, the damage could be great. Scientists who study the solar system believe it is important to understand what is out there that could impact the Earth. That is why it is necessary to catalog all the asteroids that might hit the Earth now and in the future. So, this is written in my own words, and I have basically condensed what this said. Here's another possible way you could state that. Scientists are concerned about an asteroid or other rock from space hitting Earth. Depending on the size, it could lead to great damage. Those who study space feel it is important to record as many possible asteroids that might hit the Earth either now or in the future. So these are 2 different paraphrasings of the same passage. This one is much shorter than the first one, but both are shorter than the original passage. So there's no real right or wrong way for you to write this as long as you are getting in all the important parts. Each one of these paraphrases, I should be able to go back and identify the who, what, when, where, why in each passage, just like in the original passage. So hopefully this gives you a little better understanding of how you can take a passage and paraphrase it in your own words.